and some women's teams.
Missing Thailand women, and Kazakhstan women.
Uzbekistan. This song sounds familiar, everybody. If you know your sevens around the world, this song gets a good run out at every sevens around the world. And it welcomes onto the field heavyweights Japan versus Uzbekistan. Japan hammering Thailand early today, 44-7. And Uzbekistan getting a bit of a pumping from Kazakhstan, 27-0. So Japan playing from left to right on your screens in the white. Heavy favourites for this Pool X match here. Cheru Miu, recognisable in her headgear there. Tries in the earlier game. And away goes Suzuki. And that's good, well balanced running there, spotting the gap and just gliding through there to put it down under the little black dot. There's a little white dot in the middle of those crossbar there. And just 40 seconds for the first score. Japan 5. 7. Uzbekistan 0. And there's a player down on the far side from the Uzbekistan team getting some treatment, so referee's just asking them to roll off. No, no sympathy. She's okay. She looks a little bit ginger. Soldier on. She's going to try and run it off. It's referee Patrick Kwok from Hong Kong in charge here. The injured player is still, she's hopping now all the way, hopping to the sideline. It's not easy hopping distance like that. She's finally off as Kanematsu gets this game started again. Japan just blasting over the top of that one. Very well organised. It's Yoku. To Suzuki. There's a lot of Uzbekistan bodies on the ground there. There's got to be a gap somewhere. Defending nicely across there. They're getting numbers, but they swing it back again. And it's Suzuki, Misaki Suzuki. Referee Kwok playing some advantage for Japan. Can they use it? Yes, they can. Maybe not. Looked like Yoko Suzuki was there across the chalk. The referee's conferring with his assistant referee and he's decided to award the try. Perhaps we'll see it again. Must have been 20 or 30 passes in that set of play there. Very difficult to defend against, but the Uzbekistanis did well. Kick from Yuka Kanematsu is over. And it's 14-0. With 4 minutes remaining in this Pool X match. It's beautifully taken in the end. It looked like it was going to go into no man's land, but well cleaned up. But Japan once again are strong over the ball. And Uzbekistan Pakistan just not getting enough players there. These Japanese very well versed with the breakdown. See there on their own ball, there's going to be a penalty there for a bit of negative play. Doing anything they can to stop the play now. Done a lot of tackling in the last couple of minutes. There's a few hands on hips there from Uzbekistan. Starting to feel it already. It's a long way to go here. Falling off tackles. Kanemitsu. Continuity. 2 passes and they should be in. There's that big overlap out there. And well done, Japan. Hang on. He's not convinced. His assistant referee's coming on. He's seen something. Yes. What's it going to be? It's a try. Everyone getting involved and making that a successful score. Scoreboard just wrongly put up some points for Uzbekistan. They've got it right now. Conversion, shaky old thing, but it's 19-0 to Japan. Around the Uzbekistan team now, there is a lot of hands on hips, and there's a long way to go. 9.5 minutes remaining. Japan could run riot here, but let's hope the girls in blue can get their act together and put something together of their own. Here they go. They've got a bit of space now. Backwards, mind you. Japanese defence is very tenacious. Again, there's no mismatch out there. It's finally a pretty handy looking spiral goes out. Someone said we've had enough of this. We're going backwards. Let's hoof it. But of course, then you have to defend again. Matter of time with those sort of numbers and that sort of position. Japanese scoring each time they get the ball now. Some conversion practice for Yuka Kanematsu. Imagine conversions are going to be important later in this game. All 3 or 4 of the top sides earlier were missing some easier conversions earlier today. Hong Kong, China and Japan. And it's 26-0 to Japan with less than a minute remaining. Taking the ball forward, soldiering on, Suzuki playing a penalty advantage, it's taken quickly, and it's Suzuki in again for another try under the posts, right on full time to take it out to 31-0. With a kick to come. It's been a very impressive display by Japan. Pakistan put up a lot of contest, but still to score 33 points in 7 minutes is some going. It's tough enough to do that at training against nobody. Someone always drops it. World record for tries in rugby still stands at 15. 1994, Ashley Billington for Hong Kong against Singapore. It's on YouTube. 15 tries, can you imagine, Di? You couldn't do that at training against your B side or against nobody because someone will always drop it.
No, I've had the pleasure of having a chat with Ashley about it, and he smiles to this day that I can't remember the final scores, but 42 points. I think it's still the record for most points scored in a World Cup qualifier as well. But
4-point tries as well.
4-point tries, and Ashley scoring 15 tries into his triathlon these days. Entered into the Hall of Fame back in Hong Kong as well last year, needless to say, for those 15 tries, acknowledged by the Hong Kong Rugby Union. Notice I said Hong Kong Rugby Union, the football having been dropped. Those are very recently from our title.
That's the trend, isn't it? And the Asian Rugby Union following suit, all in line with World Rugby. IRB has become the World Rugby. The football just wasn't necessary, really, was it?
Some confusion in Hong Kong, to say the least, with the most popular team sport being soccer football, depending on what part of the world you're from. And so, strategically decided by the Hong Kong Rugby Union to drop the football for after 50 so many years of...
They're very slow decision makers, notoriously, aren't they?
Being a full-time employee of them, Booze, I'm not going to comment on that.
Here we go as we kick off in the second half. It's Japan with a sizable 33 lead against Uzbekistan, and the marching band are getting ready. I knew there'd be entertainment. Look over there. We are going to see a treat here at the lunchtime break. Apart from the rugby, there's going to be some good old marching bands.
And Booze, I'm laughing because you've been winding certain people up all morning, and I'm thinking that he's seeing things, but I have now turned to my left-hand side, and indeed, for the viewers who won't be able to see it, there is a marching band that's appeared from under one of the far stands. So apologies for that, Booze. I thought you were winding our viewers up.
Looks like they've forgotten their instruments, though, as Misaki Suzuki goes in for try number 7, I think. It's a marching group of people. Not sure it's a band. They're very nicely turned out in their fully white uniforms. Hats.
I can see a couple of bass drums over the far side. As you say, I'm not seeing many more instruments. But
maybe got a recorder in their back pockets. Kanematsu with the conversion, and it's 40-0 here with 5 minutes remaining in this Pool X match. Lucky at least she attacked the ball there. She had good intent, tried to be positive about it, just couldn't quite get there and take it in the bread basket. And now they're on defence again.
And again, it's well worth noting, it's one-way traffic at the moment for Japan, but there's a lot to play for these lower teams as well as they move into day 2, because the women's and the men's indeed series next year will have a promotion-demotion very similar to World Rugby. So the bottom team in the women's tournament this weekend, and obviously one more tournament to go after this, faces relegation and into the pool or competition B of Asian Rugby next season. So lots still to play for, created by the competition structure and format. And indeed in the men's game, we'll say goodbye to 5 teams in the top flight. So the men's teams, the top 7 will remain, and it'll reduce to 8 teams next year. So lots to play for, even though the dominant teams such as Japan and China are putting 40 points on these teams, but still need to keep playing, still need to keep working hard and play for the minor places tomorrow.
And Misaki Suzuki goes over for her second very quickly in succession. That was she won that at the back of the line out. It was an underhand pass into the line. It wasn't overhand. Right to the back. She went outside the 15 to take it. And then she's just gone right through the middle of these Uzbekistans. It's a handy looking kick, but it's not there. Tachi has no interest in that. She's putting that one down in the notebook as a miss. Japan 45, Uzbekistan 0 with 3.5 minutes remaining. It's a very long 14 minutes. We'd all like to see Uzbekistan put something together here. A lot of work goes into getting a side to these tournaments, and they come up against some very good teams. You don't get a chance really to show what you've got. And just tackling all day. I'm sure they'd like the chance to get something going. No sweeper back there. Gets a beautiful bounce. It's all going Japan's way. A low 5 there. And we haven't seen Yamaguchi in this game, Daishi. The young girl on the wing, Marie Yamaguchi, who scored a couple of blistering efforts in the first round. Didn't really come her way today. Maybe she's just come on. She was there to give a low 5.
Yeah, she's come on as sub number 6. Is that number 6? Yeah.
Number 2.
Ah, right, sorry, getting mixed up with the other flyer in the Japanese team.
I think she's going off now, so if she didn't come on earlier. She's not wanting to show her hand.
Yeah, getting mixed up with Yoko, who scored a number of tries in the first game as well. Flying winger, that's on there with the headgear.
Big collision there. Crashing to the ground. Away it comes again. It's Aya Misaki Suzuki taking that ball forward. There's huge numbers out here, but it's gone to ground. Referee Patrick Kwok saying that went backwards. And throwing people aside is Ano Kuwai. We weren't really going to stop it from that distance, and another try for Japan there. The scoreboard is ticking over. It's keeping the scoreboard very busy, 57-0, with about a minute remaining. And we've probably got our biggest score of the day coming up. Surpassing the 53 that Hong Kong put on Singapore earlier. The kick was good. She's kicked that straight into touch. Her head went down. She probably just wanted to kick that out of the stadium. Of course, it gives Japan one more chance. I'm sure they're not going to take their foot off the gas at any point. No mercy. Suzuki throws it in. It's a bit wobbly. It's not straight. And that could be the end. No, I think we've got time for a scrum. Yes, we do. If you've got a secret move, Uzbekistan, let's pull it out now. Japan with an early shove, so penalty is Uzbekistan. They could just kick it out and go home. They've played their 2 games today. There's some indecision. No, let's run it. Let's have a go. Oh, that looked a little bit forward. Okay. That's it. That's the game. It's 57-0 here. Japan, Uzbekistan. That's the big score for Japan there. And
The women's game livening up, I think, in the last couple of rounds. Really, today was with Japan coming up against Kazakhstan later in the day. So I think that would be an interesting encounter, and two of the top teams, and indeed with Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, Singapore, but China, Hong Kong as well will be another cracker in the women's game before we head for the hills this evening. But a couple more games to go, with Hong Kong standing in the tunnel now, ready to come out against Sri Lanka.
Yes, this should be a good one. A match-up between Sri Lanka and Hong Kong. We saw both teams early on playing some good rugby.